Dustin Kerns signing an extension with App State. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Today's episode brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Check them all out today at nissanusa.com. All right, we'll talk Dustin Kerns extension at App State, Terrence Edwards Jr. transferring to Louisville, and a quick baseball preview. How about the Troy women playing in the Final Four of the WNIT? They had a huge crowd last night. They did fall short. Jared Parker's wife, apparently a Morehead State Hall of Famer, put on a three-point shooting contest. That was pretty cool as well. And I don't know if you can hear how I wake up almost every morning. Let's be quiet for a second. Can you hear that? I'm actually in my living room. I mean, I live right next to a kennel. These guys are roosters. Whew. I get up early anyway. So yes, that is a dog. They are right outside my window. Anyway, I don't know if it makes the podcast, but I can certainly hear it. All right. So the big news yesterday, among others, was Dustin Kerns signing an extension, or getting one anyways. Pete Thamel reported yesterday morning, App State has agreed to a new 6-year contract with basketball coach Dustin Kerns, which runs through 29 and 30. App State won the regular season Sunbelt title. He won Coach of the Year and led the school to 27 wins, and the most in a single season in school history. Obviously, he fell short of the NCAA tournament when they lost to Arkansas State. They did go to the NCAA tournament in 2021, App State's first since 2000. Now, the word is that the players were bolting because he was bolting. We go to our buddy Jeremy Harper's website, Howlraiser. He's got 57 Sunbelt players transferring or into the portal. 57. Only 3 have come out so far. Etienne Struthers, App State, going to Hampton. Jalen Carey from JMU going to Vanderbilt, and we'll get to Terrence Edwards going to Louisville. But that's it. Josh Hayes from App State hasn't gone anywhere. 2 of the bigger guys, Trayvon Spillers, 12 and 9, or actually about 13 and 9, hasn't announced anything. Justin Abson, 8 and 8, and not even including the blocks, was probably about 3. Jordan Marsh hasn't found a new home yet. Remember, we had Xavier Brown at JMU. This is Avion Brown at App State. Nothing yet. Terrence Harcum, nothing yet. And Christopher Mantis, nothing yet. We'll find out what the terms are. I presume it's going to be a little bit of a healthy raise. And I'm not sure if it's going to reach the, $600,000 to $700,000 mark. But again, I think he was only making $325, maybe $350. So we're probably looking at the, $450,000, $500,000 mark, perhaps. I don't know. Again, I presume it doesn't cost a whole lot to live in lovely Boone, North Carolina, but that could be like everywhere else where costs have gone up for the nicer homes. Although I presume he's already got a nice home. But that is big news for App State. Who knows if he dipped his toes in the job market. It keeps on rolling. Right, we got Andy Enfield going from USC to SMU. I think that came out of nowhere, but it is what it is. And now you have maybe Eric Musselman going from Arkansas to USC. Still trying to figure out if that's a better job. I mean, obviously there's, LA and Fayetteville jokes to be made, but I'm not sure how much of a better job that is. And then who takes over for Arkansas, right? Will Wade went on his show, I think on Wednesday, and basically said, I'm sticking around. It could have been Tuesday. He said, I'm not going anywhere. I've told you I'm coming back for another year. All right. Which was always the plan. But he also mentioned privately, hey, if the money's too good, I got to go, right? Because you just don't get these second chances all that often. So Arkansas State coming back now, he's got to recruit his own team, right? I mean, if he can get back, half his players, he'd be in much better shape here quickly, right? Trayvon Spillers, Justin Abson, Jordan Marsh, and Terrence Harcum. You get those players back, you're in good shape for next year. Otherwise, you're bringing in a whole new bunch of players, and you're starting from scratch, which kind of is what college basketball is really going to be. You kind of have to have a foundation, kind of like Caleb Fields at Arkansas State. If you don't have a foundation, and it's really tough, because I don't care about, we heard Mark Byington taking JMU to Italy. I know the Cajuns go to the islands over here off the, coast in the Atlantic. Maybe you go to Mexico, some go to Israel, and that's great male bonding, but I'm not sure a week or two expedites the whole trust thing. It's a nice trip, right? It's a worldly experience that these kids may or may not be able to get to at another time, and they get to play basketball. I know Auburn's gone over to Israel, and Bruce Pearl had great things to say about that at the time, but you have to have a foundation to build, and then sprinkle in, new players. That's what's going to happen. We'll see, right? JMU, Xavier Brown went back to JMU, and that's a good place to start for the new head coach, Preston Spradlin. If you're starting from scratch, then it takes a little bit to trust. He may have gotten some of his players from his old school, but maybe that was Louisville. See, that's the same thing, right? I think the Louisville coach is starting from scratch. The new Louisville coach is starting from scratch, because most of those guys, which isn't the worst thing of all, because they just weren't any good. So it may not be the worst thing of all time. But Dustin Kerns getting some stability at App State, does a good job. Take the stairs kind of mentality, right? We do things the hard way. Although I do wait for the elevator at the Raging Cajuns ballpark. I do too much aerobic exercise during the day. I'm going to be patient. It's all of like 4 flights. The elevator's broken, I'll take the stairs. But I generally, exercise twice a day. So that's my exercise. So good job for App State to get that done. We'll see if we can find the terms beyond the 6 years, how much he's getting. That doesn't really matter. But he is apparently sticking around. And even if, that Arkansas State or that Arkansas job does open up, it appears he will be in lovely Boone, North Carolina. All right, let's take a timeout. When we come back, we'll talk Terrence Edwards Jr. Off to Louisville. Let me tell you about Nissan. And better together. First, Nissan. This week's March Madness bracket highlight is brought to you by our friends at Nissan. Each week, we're picking one team that stands out, a team that's pushed it further than the rest. Just like any of the all-new 2024 Nissan SUVs, these guys were able to take it to the next level. The Yukon Huskies can only be described as an armada. The one seat is as hardcore as it gets out there, so no wonder they've secured a spot in the Final Four. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. ShopUSA.com. And better together. Bracket busted, but want to stay in the game? Introducing Better Together, with the first cooperative daily fantasy platform where teamwork triumphs where teamwork triumphs talent, and you can play with your friends and not against them. Pick more or less on real-time player stats, strategize with your partner to boost your odds, and climb the leaderboard together. So grab a friend and join the social DFS movement. Better Together is the first cooperative daily fantasy application. Better Together. provides a sense of camaraderie, and enhances the social experience of watching sports. Makes you realize that DFS is fun alone, but like a lot of other things, it's better with friends. It's a way to stay connected with friends when you can't watch sports together in person. Put your group chat to the test and let you prove yours is the best. Download Better Together now from the App Store and sign up using code LOCKEDON for a chance to win your share of over $1,000 in cash prizes. Remember the code LOCKEDON because winning alone is fun, but it's better together. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Still hear those dogs. All right, the big news yesterday on the transfer front was Terrence Edwards Jr. A couple of stories. Was Terrence Edwards Jr. going to Louisville? I thought, and he still may decide to go through the draft process. I think that's a good idea anyway, because, next year he has to, technically. He has to go through the process just to see what it is. Also see what he needs to work on, because you will get no one's going to sugarcoat it, right? This isn't someone who is recruiting you to go to college and telling you how great you are. They will tell you, hey, you're pretty good. And he's a good all-around player. But again, I think we saw, athletic issues trying to get by Kyle Filipowski, right? He needs to be able to shoot it a little bit more consistently from the outside at his size, right? He can rebound, though. That's good. And he can pass it. But it needs to be a little bit more explosive. And, it's just a good all-around basketball player. And, what he needs to do I presume he wants to be a first-round pick, right? No one's trying to be a second-round pick. A, you want to see if you're getting drafted. All right, that's A. And B, how high. And so if he goes through that process this year and then goes back to Louisville, now he's got an idea, A, of what he wants to work on, what he needs to work on at school, and B, puts him a better idea, more comfortable, because going through all of this, the combine and the pro day, I presume everyone's nervous, and he would be more comfortable. So that would be my suggestion if he still can go through the process, although he has committed to Louisville. One nephew is very excited about that. They get the Sun Belt Player of the Year playing for the Cards. As for the Cajuns transfer portal, interesting. They had the end of the season banquet on almost earlier this week, or may have been last night. All right. And Kobe Julian is there getting some awards. Offensive Player of the Year. All right. Joe Charles is there getting some awards. Themis Folks was not there. So a lot of the team was there, including two of the guys that are apparently in the portal. I've always thought that Joe Charles is coming back. I will say there's not a whole lot of he's got a little bit of a smile. All right. I had to click on it to get the smile. Kobe's got a nice smile with Bob Marlin. I happen to think that Joe Charles is coming back. I have no information, but I think that would be best for him. And we'll see about Kobe. I was told people think that Kobe may be coming back, that he was just dipping his toe in there as well. But it should be mentioned, for the end of the year, banquet, two of the three guys who went into the portal went to the banquet. I think Themis Folks left the team, before the end of the year. That did not. I think that went over well with a lot of people, but it is what it is. So, and again, we just have not had a whole lot of movement, at least not Sunbelt movement. We did see, speaking of Louisville, Sky Clark went from Louisville to UCLA, and it's on Twitter, and who knows who put it out there. I think it was a reputable source, but if it's on Twitter, it must be true. He tripled his NIL money, whatever that is. Is that $30,000 to $100,000? Although it's a little bit more than triple, right? Is that $100,000 to $300,000? There are levels, right? I presume it's not $300,000 to $1 million. but any little bit helps. And if you're going from 10 to 30 or 30 to 100, triple is triple, right? 15 to 45 makes a big difference. So we'll see. The coaching carousel has not completely settled yet. If you're still getting coaches moving, I mean, it's going to keep on going for a minute, right? Well, USC has to be filled. All right. So does Eric Musselman, who, again, I don't know how they're feeling about this in Fayetteville. You have a good job. You're making $4.2 million and you're going to USC. And is that a legendary? When was the legendary basketball program? No, not really. So I'm not sure why he's doing that. That's not a whole lot of leverage there. If I'm Arkansas, I take care. You owe us to buyout. Maybe we extend you, but we're not going to give you any more money. You didn't have a very good year. No. But if Musselman takes the USC job, who takes the Arkansas job? And then it keeps on, the dominoes need to keep on falling, right? Because, Pat Kelsey took the Louisville job, and then Chris Mack, I think Pat Kelsey worked for at one point in time, took his job at College of Charleston. So that's where it stops in terms of that gig, because Chris Mack was out of work. So there's no other domino to fall. Does something like that happen where somebody out of work is getting the gig? So we shall see. So again, not a whole lot has moved. In 57 players in the Sun Belt in the transfer portal, only 3 have left and 1 went back. So far, that's what we've got so far. I don't even know if that's marked. Let me see. Did he mark that down? Let's see here. No, he did not mark that down. So there's 57 on his portal. 3 are changing schools and 1 went back. Come on, Jeremy. Let's keep up with the news. Keep up with the news. All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, we'll check out the baseball schedule this weekend. I'm not sure there's a huge matchup going on. Some tricky ones. But, we'll just talk about it. When we come back, let me tell you about Amazon Fire TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports. From live games to highlights to in-depth analysis, Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire Stick TV that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created the Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels let you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports. March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Checking out the baseball schedule for this weekend. Oh, well, let's go over the baseball that happened on Wednesday. It was actually a big ball game. Georgia Southern blanks South Carolina. That's huge. Let's see how much Georgia Southern went up in the Warren Nolan RPI. Georgia Southern blanks South Carolina 8-0. So how much does that help Georgia Southern? Georgia Southern only went up 3 for the week, so I don't know if they had fallen or not. I don't know where they were. They did lose the other night, right? Let's see here. They lost to College of Charleston, got run ruled, so they bounced back with a nice win over South Carolina. I don't know. Oops. I do not know where. I don't know where they fell before that, but they are up 3-49, so up 3 for the week. So they started at 52, but fell from the Coastal College of Charleston loss. And now they are at 49, 15, and 14 overall. Is that right? No. All right. I had clicked out my baseball schedule. All right. So also last night, Troy with a 18-10 win over Jacksonville State, and ULM takes down Northwestern State 10-6. All right, this weekend, App State is at JMU. Coastal is hosting Old Dominion. Here's the tricky one, maybe. Texas State and Marshall. All right. And now you got here. I don't know if this is a rivalry in baseball. I guess it is. Georgia Southern hosting Georgia State. Georgia State's 7-2. They're right on the heels of the Cajuns. Georgia Southern playing a little bit better despite the loss to College Charleston. They just did take down South Carolina. If Georgia State takes this series, they are looking in really good shape. If that's the case, right? They swept South Alabama. They took 2 out of 3 from JMU. We'll see how they do against Georgia Southern. Troy hosting Arkansas State. Cajuns hosting ULM, and Southern Miss at South Alabama. I'm not exactly sure what's happened with South Alabama or Southern Miss. They are not. Well, Southern Miss is 6-3 conference. I guess they're okay. They did lose the other night to Southeastern. So Southern Miss is 6-3, 18-11. South Alabama started out so good, but they are 3-6 in the conference. There was a conversation yesterday on Twitter why the Cajuns haven't moved up, having won 12 in a row. Well, first of all, they have moved up. I know it's a month, but, they have moved up. All right. So it is April 4th. Okay. When they played and lost to Tulane, and we've been over this, when they lost to Tulane on March 8th, their RPI was 236. All right. Now, they beat Tulane 2 games in a row, and it skyrocketed to 110. And now they're sitting at 4. I mean, that's pretty good. Problem is their strength of schedule is not great, and they do have a couple losses. Wright State is not nearly as good as they were last year. They're like 187. Rice is awful. Everyone's telling me Rice was supposed to be great, but they haven't been very good at all in a few years. Their RPI sitting right now is 206. Houston isn't great either, right? And so, they have Vandy on LSU on the schedule, but they lost. I don't think the closeness matters in baseball. That's why these games, you can beat ULM in a series, but if you lose one, you're going to probably lose in the RPI battle, right? Baseball was meant to be played and won in series, but it's going to be a tough spot for the Cajuns. All right. They always usually get off to a good start because of the Herman Langevin combo. That's a heck of a 1-2 punch. It really is. So we'll see what happens there. But again, this all comes down to RPI. And again, it changes on a regular basis, right? Cajuns didn't play yesterday. Only 3 Sunbelt teams did. And we went over those scores. Cajuns, in fact, this has changed already. Let me see here. This has changed already this morning. When I went to it this morning, before I started recording, they were 43-13. Now they are, and the RPI was 32, which would get them in. All right. Now they're 42-14, RPI of 38, which to me puts them back on the bubble. Who do they have them lose to? By the way, he's got them losing to ULM on Sunday. That's the loss. All right. Well, interesting. He's got them losing to ULM, but sweeping Coastal Carolina. Before, he had him winning all the ball games and beating Coastal on Friday, but losing the series 2 out of 3. He's got him losing 2 out of 3 to Troy. He's got him losing 2 out of 3 to Southern Miss at home. That's kind of odd. All right. Not liking that too much. Okay. So we shall see. Again, plan is still to go to Mississippi, so I will be missing the Cajuns games on Friday and Saturday, but we will be back here for Sunday's game. Depending on when I leave Mississippi, I might be able to get some post game. We'll see how long the festivities last in Mississippi. I think there's 3 rounds of allocation, so we'll see how long it lasts. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for the continued support. We're getting so close to 1,200. We do have to do some spring football stuff. We'll be back at Cajun spring football, but I do have to just put in a request for all the spring football coaches and need to do that quickly. Thanks so much for tuning in to Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you again on Friday.